Now, our next guest has recently featured in videos from the Home Office defending the Rwandan migrant deal as the best solution to combat the people smugglers facilitating the Channel migrant crisis.
Yes.
Well, basically it's a racket which is run by people smugglers to make money, and they make huge amounts of money. But you can only destroy their model by guaranteeing that people cannot get to the UK courtesy of a people smuggler. Otherwise you can't destroy their model.
Yes, well, there we are.
Yes, Alexander Downer was the Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs from 1996 to 2007 and played a role in negotiating Australia's own offshore migrant processing scheme called the Pacific Solution. He joins us now in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
I mean, we've got many questions.
Loads.
GB News viewers, so if you don't mind, I'll just
go for it.
give them to you. I mean, first question is, what would you suggest to do with the French policy or the police standing by whilst watching migrants launch into the Channel? So we see many videos and images of French ships just allowing, just to go ahead.
Yeah, well, there's nothing you can do. You have to negotiate with the French as best you possibly can. And remember, they've been going through an election period where the election is a contest to win a pretty conservative electorate and a very nationalist electorate. So making concessions to the UK in the lead up to the election would have been seen as weakness by Macron. So this is not the time to negotiate with the French. But after the election's out of the way, the British government should look to see whether there are options to negotiate with the French. After all, it's the point I always make about this Channel crossing issue. These people are not in Iraq or Afghanistan or Eritrea. They're in France.
Yeah.
And they are, it doesn't matter what their nationality is, they are not being persecuted in France.
No.
And I don't know why the UK would accept that people who are not being persecuted in France should be able illegally to come to the UK.
Well, exactly. There's no war in France, and if there was, they'd have already surrendered. Oh, sorry, I couldn't let that one go. Anyway, Bernard's been in touch. Would it be possible to have a cruise ship docked offshore or in Dover to house, and then when it's full, sail to Rwanda for them to be processed if it works to deter the crossings, then good? I mean, the offshore processing, basically the crux of it is, should we have an offshore processing centre so they don't even set foot in the UK?
Yeah, well, Rwanda is a landlocked country, so you can't sail ultimately to Rwanda.
There's a fatal flaw in this plan.
Good point.
No, but not to be clever. I mean, you could sail to Kenya and then you could become ambassador and then you could take them to Rwanda. You could do that, but it's probably easier to house them at Marston, for example, or in this place in Yorkshire. I would have thought, though, the issue here is a slightly different one. You want to get them on the plane to Rwanda as quickly as possible. You want to do that immediately. I mean, in the case of Australia, people don't try to come that way anymore because by a small boat because they're not going to succeed and they know it. We've broken the back of the model. But if they did, and we did intercept a boat, then the people would be on their way to Nauru within hours, not in days, not in weeks, in hours.
And this is what I want to... this actually is just something I always wanted to talk to you about. I went to an asylum seeker hotel the other week, did quite a big investigation into it, actually, a couple of days ago. I went out on it, and what I was amazed by was the lack of security, not just on the way in, right, but also if these asylum seekers now know that they're going to be in a hotel for a little bit, waiting to be essentially deported to Rwanda, they can just go on about. And I think we're going to see a lot of them absconding, I suppose. There's nothing to stop them. There's still no security, really, at this hotel, for example. So your point there is a vital one, isn't it? As soon as these people arrive, they need to be somewhere secure and then on a plane out.
Straight away.
Straight away.
The longer you leave them in the UK, the more they will delay their departure in any imaginable way. Of course, there is absconding. Another possibility for them is endless legal suits and just tie up the time of the courts.
Exactly.
Which they, are doing in any case. So you've got to realise that the people smugglers educate the people who buy the passage to the UK on how to deal with the system when they arrive, what to say to the Border Force officers. Make sure you, in most cases, throw away your documents so you're undocumented. There's a whole strategy for how to defeat the border,
Yeah.
a whole strategy, and the people smugglers are absolute masters of this.